Today, we're doing lesson 7 of our sentence building and Mvskoke structure lesson. Today, we're going to be focusing on negatives, and we're going to start to get into past tense. So last week, we did present tense and we talked about it. So I wanted to start with first negatives. It gives us a good chance to practice present tense again before we get to past, and then open the big book of past tense and Mvskoke language and culture, because it's not as easy as English, but it's a lot more interesting than English. So we'll kind of get into that. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so as always, do we remember what we learned last week? So if I can, whether it's via chat or unmute, what is the difference between an action verb versus a stative verb in Mvskoke? Nice, different conjugations. Anything else? There's a reason they have different conjugations. Okay, so first, conjugation. How do you conjugate an action verb? So in this case, we have miste. What are the steps for conjugating an action verb? Let's do action
Drop
right
the
here.
ida.
Nice, drop the ida. So we have nisida. Drop ida, so now we have nis. Okay, what's next for present tense? This is probably the hardest part. It's the elongation. So if there's a V or in short E, it becomes A in long E. So we need this to be niece. So this becomes niece. Then we add what? Oh yeah, in the chat answered the question with stative and action verbs up above, where action verbs are acts of the subject. Stative verbs have to do with a state. So the subject isn't actively making it happen. Nice, okay. So after we elongate, we need to add our person marker. So in this case, I said the I or me form. So it's I. And then last but not least, we add our S. So we have our action verb conjugation. And then for stative verb, so for here, I chose hodozi. Hodozi. What do we do for stative verbs? What's the first step? We add our prefix. Nice. We add our patient marker. So where this one took a person marker, we use a patient marker on these. So in this case, right, I said I or me form. So our patient marker is the ja. It's in the front. We add our patient marker to the front. Then we have to analyze, do we need to make it plural, right? Do we have to show plurality? No, we're just saying I'm tired. So we're good there. And so then in that case, we just add an S. Ja hodozis. I'm tired. Nice.
Mahaya,
Yes.
can you elaborate a little bit on the terminology of a patient marker versus a person marker? I know that's kind of geeky, but I just am curious what that means. I mean, obviously it's in a different place, but why do we call one a patient marker as opposed to a person marker? Or is that too much?
I'll answer it. It might be a lot, but I'll answer it. So the person marker and a patient marker. So things that make them different. Person's gonna go like attach as a suffix, so at the end. This pen is so sensitive. Suffix. There we go. So it attaches as a suffix. This one attaches as a prefix. And then person marker, it really does show like the acting in the situation. Like they're the one doing the action, right? This one shows like almost like being affected. And that's important because later when we talk about sentences like I told you or she hit me and stuff like that, you're being affected. So they take patient markers, stuff like that. So patient is showing they're the person being affected by the verb, which is why in stative verbs, it's the main thing, because in stative verbs, it is a state that you're being affected by. So I'm hungry, the hunger is affecting me. So jealous versus I'm stomping. So that's the main difference. I think I want to probably explain between the two. Is person is a suffix, which means it's added on the end, and it shows that someone is acting, versus patient is a prefix, which means it goes in the front, and it shows that this person's being affected by the action. I hope that was at least kind of what you wanted.
Is it different from a reflexive verb?
It is different from a reflexive verb. We actually have a prefix we use for reflexive, and we'll see that later down the line, but that prefix is E. So for example, we have hijida, which is to see, right? To see or to look. We already know that one. If we add a E to the front, ihijida, it's to look at yourself. So like in a mirror, ihijis, I'm looking at myself in a mirror, or in a pond, my reflection. So that the reflexive is used with that E in the front. Good question though. Okay, so I'm gonna go into this part right here then for now. Any more questions, just go ahead and ask them. But so this is the big thing to remember. An action verb is gonna be something that you do physically or mentally, and it's usually something you control. Stative verb is something that affects you or is a state you are in, and generally something you don't control. And so that's how we got niseis versus jahorosis. They have slightly different ways that they conjugate. Woo. Okay. So forming negatives. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay. So this thing's in my way. For most verbs, action and stative, you'll actually add the same ending to make a sentence negative. Omada really is the only exception, right? Because omada, it was dogo. It's not dogo in these other ones, but it's not too hard. Instead, it's this guy. It's eagle, eagle. So you will add eagle after, that's important, the person marker for action verbs, or after E for stative verbs. But otherwise, all the steps that are used in present tense stay the same. That's the only thing. So you basically just add one more step. So let's look at action verbs. Let me get, how about, let's see, yellow. No, actually that'll probably blend right in. Let's do blue. Okay, so let's look at action verb first. Right, we take the action verb. So we have our wanayada. We drop our ida. So we ended up with wanai. We do the same thing. We have to elongate that final vowel. Right, so if it has that final vowel, the final vowel is either or I, has to be and e. So right, that final vowel, it is. So it's lengthened to So now we have wana, wana. We have to add the person marker, just like before. So we added itsuki for you, wana yitsuki. And now we just add eagle. Right, and it's in the parentheses. That's because depending on what it's next to, that E drops, right? So when I skigo, and then to finish off our sentence and make it a statement, we add our S. So full word, when I skigos, you are not tying it. When I skigos. Stative verb, we're gonna follow the same steps, except add that eagle. So we take our stative verb. We have bingali. We add the correct patient marker in the front. So in this case, ja bingali. We decide if we need to add uk to show multiple. No, I'm saying I'm scared. So we don't need it. We add eagle, ja bingali. So if you notice that E drops, this long E, it goes away. It just becomes eagle. Jabingaligol. And then we add our final S to make it a statement. Jabingaligos. Jabingaligos. I'm not scared. Jabingaligos. So like I mentioned, if the part before eagle ends in either it or e, you just add go. Go. So when I is go, jabingaligos. Any questions from what you see here? I'm gonna pull up a chart in a second. So any questions?
I have a question. So the cha in the step 2,
Yes.
is that saying I'm not scared of it or it's not scaring me?
Yeah, this is specifically, so bingali is to be scared.
Mhm.
So this ja is adding the I. So I am scared would just be jabingalis with the S on the end. I am scared. So I, and then to be scared. So I'm scared. And then jabingali goes to then being I am not scared. So it's to be scared, not to be scary or to be scared of, it's to be scared. Does that make sense? Hope so. When you want to say things like to scare someone, the verb changes a little bit. Okay. Any other questions before I move on? Awesome. Okay. So here's our person markers with eagle. So let's look at them. Okay. So first person singular, aka I, me. So in this case, I do not or I am not. It's ogle. Now, why is it ogle, right? Because if it's, you do the person marker, which would be I, and then you add eagle, wouldn't that just be a eagle? That doesn't sound right in Mvskoke, right? What happens a lot if an I and an E are next to each other in Mvskoke, a lot of times you'll notice they become an A. It's just, there's a lot of reasons for that. One being that the I is actually a shortened version of VY from a long time ago, and then it became an A and all this stuff. So basically, when you make a negative for first person, it becomes an A, an A. So it's ago, not ego or io, it's ago, ago. So I do not eat or I'm not eating is hombagos, hombagos. And a lot of times people will drop that final S and they'll just say homebox. So you've probably heard that before. Homebox, keyflux. That's when you just drop that O. Homebox, hombagos. Second person singular, aka you. You do not eat or you are not, or sorry, you do not or you are not do, depending on if it's what it is in time value.
Is it common to drop that last O like one box?
It is common when people are talking about what they are doing. I don't hear it so much for like home bix. It's like that, but it's very common for first person. So most of the time, if someone could say key flagos or key flux, a lot of people are going to default to key flux. But like for like this one, most people are going to default to kithigos with the O still. So really the most common one to actually drop the O is going to be the first one. I don't know, it just sounds nice. So for second person singular, for you, right, we have all of our forms of you. We just add our go on the end because they all end in an E, right? So we just add go. So it's go, itchigo, itchigo, and itchigo. So our one here is hombitskigos. You do not eat or you are not eating. Hombitskigos. Hombitskigos. Third person singular, aka he, she, it. So does not or is not doing. We add ego in the most pure form. Excuse me. So because home ends with that P, we do need something. So the E stays on these ones. So hombigos. He, she, it does not eat or is not eating. Hombigos. First person plural, aka we. So we do not or we are not. eagle, eagle. And it can also be written like this as well. Either eagle. Because really what it's doing is it's showing you have to hold it. This Y causes you to hold it longer. This one is more like you have to know to hold it longer. So they're both right. I just tend to write it with the Y because it does like remind me to just hold it longer. So we do not eat. We are a umbigos. 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 Second person plural, aka y'all. Y'all do not eat or y'all are not doing. So we have our atski and our achki, so we just add our go on the end. Go. Achkigo and achkigo. So hombatskigos. Y'all do not eat or y'all are not eating. And then last but not least, third person plural. They. They do not or they are not doing. And that's the agigo with that asterisk, right? Because remember, certain verbs have different forms for multiples. And in that case, you use that. So when they don't have a special form, agigo. So hombada does not have a special form. So it's hombagigos. Hombagigos. They do not eat or they're not eating. Hombagigos. Nice. Okay. So we're gonna do I say, you say. We're gonna do each one in this column 2 times. Okay. So I say, you say. Hombagos.
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 Nice. Hombeskigos.
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 Hombigos.
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 Hombatskigos.
Hombagos.
Hombatskigos.
Hombagos.
And hombagigos.
Hombagos.
Hombagigos.
Hombagos.
Nice. Awesome, Shawson. Any questions on this page before I move on? Okay, so let's practice this a bit. I think my blues should still show up pretty okay on this one. Okay. So see my hierarchies. Let's practice. So I am not drinking tea. First one. What's going to be the first word in that sentence? You can chat it or just call it out. What's the first word? Nice. Tea is going to be the first word. So we have asti. I'm going to add my N on the end because I can't help it. Asti. Okay. And now it's I am not drinking. So what's our verb for to drink?
Iskira.
Nice. Esquera. Okay, so what are we doing with that verb? First thing we
You drop the head.
and yeah, we do. Okay, so we have isk. Okay, we have to make sure if it elongates is our next thing. Isk. It has to elongate, right? It has E is the last one. Isk. Okay. Now we have to add our person marker. So who is doing the action? I, right? I. So what letter do we add for first person for I? Oh yes, that's true. It is an ah for this one because we're doing negative. So here, I'm gonna do it the long way. We're doing the long way first, and then we can cut corners. So it's I first. Iske. Now we add our negative. What is our negative? Yeah, for first person, it's going to be ago because we add equal. So this merges into the ah. So we have ago, and then what do we add on the s every time? I just said it. What do we add on the end every time?
S.
Our s, yes. So
Iskagos.
Asin,
Asin iskagos.
iskagos. Or iskaks. Either would be right. It's been a long day. We aren't listening. So in this one, we just need the main verb, right? We aren't listening. What's the word for to listen? Starts with an M.
Maboa.
You're You're so close. Mabo hejida.
My way.
Yeah, there you go. Mabo hejida. Okay, so like you said, our first thing we do is we drop that ida. So we have mabo hej. Okay, we have to do the person marker. What's our person marker for we? Right, just like the word we, it's the long e. E. And then we have to add our negative. So in this case, it becomes that y there to help separate it. Ego. Or you don't have to. I will continue to do so. And then what do we add on the end?
Yes.
Yes. Mabuhay. We aren't listening. Mabuhay. We're not listening. Okay, y'all aren't working. What's our word for work? To work. I'll give you a hint. Starts with a V.
Adot-kita.
Heck yeah. I like double wrote that T. Adore. Okay, what's the first thing we do?
Drop the Adam.
Drop our ida. So we have adore. We elongate if it's a V or an E as the last vowel. It is not, right? The last vowel is this one. It's an O, so we're good. Okay. So now we have to add the negative and the person marker for y'all. What's that one gonna be? Person marker for y'all is starts with an A. I know somebody of you knows it. Atski or Atski, either way. Atski. And now we add our negative, which is E, go. Right, so go, because there's already an E there. And then we add our S. Adoptatskigos. Adoptatskigos. Oh, it looks long and terrifying, but it makes it simple. I just realized I had an O next to the V. It's making it look even weirder. Let's do that. There we go. Adoptatskigos. But when we know all of our pieces, it's not as scary to say it, right? We know adop is our piece, atsk is our piece, equals is our piece. Adoptatskigos. Nice. Okay. He is not looking. What's our word for to look?
Ejida.
Ejida. Now this word technically has a long E already. Ejida. So first thing we do is drop our ida. Ej. Okay. He is not looking. What do we add for he is not? What do we add? Oh, and just so you, this will probably help too. If you guys need to have the chart in front of you. There we go. And you didn't have time to write down. Here's the Google Drive. If you go ahead and go to Google Drive now, you can pull up the PowerPoint PDF on your side so that way you can have the chart up at the same time while you're trying to do this. I forgot to send that in earlier. Okay, so giving people a second to get onto that chart.
Which worksheet is that? Sorry.
It's gonna be the one, I think I sent the Google Drive link to go straight to it, but it's gonna be inside the one that's called negatives and past tense.
Mhm.
And then it's the one that's like called lesson, Mvskoke sentence building and grammar lesson 7.
Is it the Ago Eskigo?
It's not one of the, well, I guess that the worksheet does, that worksheet works as well. So yes, it would be that. That also works. But yeah, so we're looking at which one is he is not? What do I add for he is not? It's gonna be 3
Eagle.
letters. Nice, eagle. And then what we add at the end?
S.
Yes. He jiggles. He is not looking. Maybe it's a secret. He jiggles. He's not looking. We're good. You don't run. What's our word for run? We're only talking to one person. So which word for run? Starts with an L.
Likra.
Nice. Lick it up. Lick it up. Okay. So first we do is
Drop the Ada.
Heck yeah, lick. Okay, what's the next thing we do? We have to check for what?
L gray.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're close. We
The
have to check
the E
for,
becomes a
vowel,
long
the vowel.
E.
there we go, yeah, the E becomes a long E. Okay, now we have to do the you don't. So which form do we add for you don't?
Eskigo,
There we go.
eskigo.
And then to make it a sentence,
S,
yes. Ligitskigos. Ligitskigos. You don't run. Ligitskigos. And then last but not least, they don't dance. What's our word for to dance? I'll take two answers.
A bunny duck.
Heck yeah. Obanida. Obanida. So first thing we do, trap that ida, right? Oban. Okay, what's the second thing we do?
check the vowel.
Check the vowel. Does this vowel change?
Yes,
Yes, it does. This one does change. Because it's a V, right? So Oban. Oban. And now we have to add the ending for they don't. Which one is they don't?
agigo,
Agigo. We add our
S,
yes. Obanagigos. Obana.
agigos.
They're not dancing. They don't answer. They're not dancing. Either one is correct. Okay. Nice. Now, oh, I was gonna say, I was like, why are the answers there? Duh. Okay, so let's go ahead and do I say, you say. Well, we're gonna start on the top left with this one. We're gonna do each one time because I want to get to the past tense. So first one, I am not drinking tea. So I say, you say, asin iskagos.
Asin iskagos.
Nice. We aren't listening. Mabohejigos.
Mabohejigos.
Nice. Mabohejigos.
Mabohejigos.
Yeah, we gotta be able to show that long E. Nice. Y'all aren't working. Adopgatskigos.
Adopgatskigos.
Nice. He is not looking. Kijigos.
Hijigos.
Nice. You don't run. Likikjigos.
Lichigos.
Or one of the other many forms of you. And then obanagigos.
Obanagigos.
Nice. And this one could also be obanagigos. It kind of gets all tricky when you add this guy in here. Kind of makes it interesting from a grammatical point of view. Otherwise, any questions on this before we head to the second round of questions?
Do you always L grade in the negative present tense?
I think the grading tends to happen more from the tense you're in more often, I think, is what tends to happen. That's from my understanding. So since we're in present tense, the L grade keeps happening because it shows the now. So it always seems like it usually follows the tense it's in on whether it's following the which grade it's going to be in, if that makes sense. That's kind of why it gets like funky when you get to this piece, because this is actually up, and so this one becomes elongated, but some people might still pronounce this elongated because this was added, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would default usually to this one, obanagigos, but I have it either way, just in case. But yeah, I usually follow the tense in to know which grade to probably put it in, is what I usually default to. Good question. Okay, and then let's do these real quick. We're doing the opposite. So, sakbasigo, what does that one mean? Anybody know? Literally, it means no arms.
A vest.
Nice, a vest. Vest, and then hayagos. Hayagos. So it's agos, so we know it's I. Hayida,
Making.
make. Nice, so the full normal sentence would be I do not make. And then I think on the actual thing I put ribbon vests, but that's too long for me to write right now, so vests. Omeigos. So right here is that, oop, did a little slanted, is our divide between the negative and our root. So this is a normal negative, so it means it's probably what? It means it's he, she, it, right? Nothing special is happening, it's just ego. What verb is omeida? We did this one a while back. Omeida. Means to swim. To swim. So this one, I'm gonna just pick one, I'm gonna say she. She does not swim. Or she is not swimming. Either is correct. Yehe giggles. Well, what's the verb in that? I feel like a lot of people can recognize yeheg.
Yeah, hey, good.
Nice. What verb is that?
Trying to remember.
Whoa.
Mhm.
Saying
Just
Exactly the same. Okay, so now we have Otskiggle. Which one is Otskiggle?
y'all not.
Nice, y'all not. So y'all aren't singing. Or y'all don't sing. Either is correct. It's based off context for present tense, so which one it is in English. No jitskigos. So we know what to do right here. What verb is nojida?
Please.
sleep.
Nice, sleep. And then itskigo. What negative is that?
You.
You. Nice. So you aren't sleeping. Maybe if it's like your siblings trying to pretend they're asleep just to ignore you, and it's like you aren't sleeping. No, just giggles. I know that. Nisigos. Nisigos. So it's gonna be right there. Anybody know what the verb nisida means? Nisida.
Bye.
Nice. To buy. To buy. Which form is egos? The really long E. Egos.
We not.
It's a
Nice,
we.
So we don't buy, and I'm gonna just put that, just something. We don't buy it, we don't buy something. No play John Eagles. Excuse me, right here. What's the no flage from? No flage.
Cook.
Nice to cook. Cook. And then agigo. Which one is agigo?
Y'all.
Oh, close.
They.
They. They. So they aren't cooking. Nice, awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead and get the pretty text up here with the right answers. There we go. Okay. So we're gonna do it again, where we're gonna do each one time. Right? Yeah, just one time. Now we get to the next part. So I say, you say. So I don't make vests, or I'm not making vests. Sakbasigo hayagos.
Suck goes.
Sigel.
How you
Hey,
goes.
Nice. Yeah, it's a long sentence. One more time, do that one more time. Sakbasigo hayagos.
Sigel.
Suck box. You go. How you go. How you goes.
Nice. Now this one. He, she, it does not swim or is not swimming. Omeigos.
Amigos.
Oh, there you goes.
Nice. This guy. Y'all aren't singing or y'all do not sing. Yehegakskigos.
Yeah, hey, got Skigos.
Yeah, he got ski goes.
Nice. This one. You aren't sleeping or you do not sleep. No jitskigos.
Legit Skigos.
Get ski goes.
Nice. We do not buy it or we aren't buying it. Nisigos.
Let me see you.
You see those.
Nice. One more time. Nisigos.
Nisigitos.
Ghost.
Goes.
Yeah, there we go. The other one means we are buying it.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy, the last one, they aren't cooking or they do not cook. No say jogigos.
Monthly
Looks like
joggles.
doggy goes.
Nice. Awesome. Any questions on this before I move on? Boop. Okay, this is what I'm excited to cover today. Mvskoke past tense. Past tense. Okay, so past tense does not work the same in Mvskoke as it does in English. We view time in more segments and with more flow than English. So because of this, where English really only has like one major past tense, Mvskoke has 5 past tenses. 5 past tenses. I'm just curious, in the chat, how many of you knew that? How many of you knew that? Put how many tenses you knew we had in Mvskoke in the chat. Nice. A lot of people tend to think 1. Any other guesses? No idea? No, didn't even know. That's fair. Nice. New 5. Yeah, a lot of times people don't realize it. We have so many more past tenses than English does, which then can be a little intimidating. It's like, well, then how do I know which one I'm using? Well, we'll look at that. Let's first look at an English idea of past tense, right? Starting at today. And the reason, let's say all of this is today, right? Well, there's stuff I did today. So there's still stuff that's in the past today, right? Like I wrote a paper today, right? So we have all of that. We have yesterday, then we have like weeks and weeks ago, and we have years ago. We have a long time ago, very long time ago. Wasn't even born or something, so like that, right? But look at the English in every sentence. I ate today. I ate yesterday. I ate a few years ago. I ate 10 years ago. And I ate when I was a baby. So in each one in English, they all just say, I ate. They conjugate no differently, right? The only thing different is the time phrase. Yesterday, a few years ago, 10 years ago. That's not the case in Mvskoke.
Is there an imperfect tense like I was eating?
Yes, it's with grading. So where in past tense, we'll go through it. Each past tense uses different grades. The one we're going to go over today uses what's called, what's the word for it? It's the falling grade, falling tone, F grade, whichever one it's called, falling tone. If you use a long tone, the lengthened grade on that past tense, it makes it the imperfect, like you were saying. Okay, English sense of the past versus Mvskoke sense of the past. So now let's look at where all these lines are. So we have today. That one ends there. We have another one that goes all the way over here, which covers yesterday and years ago. We have another one that covers years ago, all the way to a long time ago. We have another one that's in between these two. And then we have one that goes from a long time ago to a very long time ago. These are all of our past tenses. So you see how much more specific we can get when we tell a story? You know exactly how long ago it was, depending on how we tell our story, which I think is pretty cool. So let's actually look at what each then past tense is. Well, the first one is past 1. Things within the last 24 hours. Things that happened today. That's past 1. Past 2. Anything from yesterday to a few years ago. Past 2. Pretty commonly used one. Past 3. Anything from a few years ago to a long time ago, like a long time ago. Past 4. A long time ago. And then last but not least, we have past 5, the most interesting past. It's what we call the mythical past, as in like really long time ago, like in our stories, like the creation and stuff like that. It can also be a time that isn't mythically past, like isn't that far back, but still a long time ago when I was like born. Or this is the important part, which I hope you can see. It's not blocking you on your screen like it is on my screen because I have my little bar down here, but the non-personal past. And we'll talk about what that means down the road because it's probably one of the most complicated pasts. Past 1 and past 5 are the hardest pasts. So, but it's super interesting and it allows you to see all kinds of cool stuff. So on the basic note, here's our past tenses. Okay, now, like I said, don't forget though, Mvskoke sense of time has so much more flow than English, right? Sometimes the different tenses are used in a way that shows how long something feels ago, as well as how long it might actually have been. Now, this doesn't count for past 5 or past 1. Past 1, it's only 24 hours, it has to be. But say you're telling a story and maybe one part of the story feels like it was a lot closer than another part of the story in time, maybe you switched from 2 to 3, right? So it's not as steadfast as it is like say in English, but like I mentioned here, the general timeline is a good way to get used to the idea of when you need to use which past tense. But it's just not as intense as like this is the exact date you have to switch. And this is important. Not only that, but things have changed over the years. And honestly, past 4 is generally no longer used in everyday speech. Instead, if you're going to find past 4, it's found mostly in commonly set expressions, in stories, or in songs. If you find someone using past 4, they're probably very old. Past 4 started to disappear around 100 years ago when it started. And so at this point, you might find somebody maybe in their 70s or above that might still use it regularly. But like I said, it's because it started disappearing about 100 years ago, right? And so past 4, we're going to learn it because you need to know it to know songs and stories, but you won't probably use it every day. So in that case, which past we're going to learn first? Now, I imagine a lot of people will be like, oh, past 1. No, we're going to learn past 2 first. And I'm going to explain why, because a lot of people might be like, well, why would we start with past 2 and not past 1? I'm going to explain. We're focusing on past 2 first for 3 reasons. The first one, past 2 is one of the most common past tenses to use in common speech. Think about it. How often do you talk about yesterday or last week or even last year, right? You're going to use that one a lot, right? Number 2, past 1 is the most complicated past to conjugate. Out of all of them, it's the hardest. So let's not start with the hardest first and discourage you. Let's start with the easier ones first. And so while past 1 is hard, past 2 through 5 are all pretty easy to put together and are pretty similar to each other. Not only that, but the last reason, past 2 is simple to form, making it a good past to learn first. It's the most friendly past, and it's probably one that you've heard before. When we start getting into it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I've heard someone say that before. Okay, so most importantly, how do we actually form it then? Okie dokie. So the process for action verbs and stative verbs are almost identical to the present tense conjugation. The only difference is that we have to add the past 2 marker. We have a lot of markers in Mvskoke, I know. So take the verb. Same first step, right? Drop the ida. Same next step, right? Drop our ida. We add a person marker, just like we have been this whole time. So we added the I for I eat. Hombe. Now we add the past 2 ending. We add the past 2 ending. It's unk. The past 2 ending is unk. So now we have hombe unk. And now we add, last but not least, our S to make it a statement. Hombe unks. I ate yesterday. Hombe unks. Hombe unks. For stative verbs, just like the first one, you take your verb, we have bingali. And you add your patient marker to the front. Drop bingali. Same. Decide if we need our up. That's the same thing, right? We don't need it. We're good. Now, the only thing that changes, we're adding a space after the E. So pretend there's a little space here. Boop. we add dolunks. Jabingali dolunks. Now, why do we add dolunks? Well, that's dos, right? We've talked about dos auxiliary, right? We can say home base or home bay dos, right? When we do past, honestly, all the pasts, for stative verbs specifically in Mvskoke, we use the dos auxiliary. Well, dos is in present tense. So we have to make it into past tense. The past tense of that form of omida is dolunks. Dolunks. So jabingali dolunks. Now, down here at the bottom, and like I said, I really hope it's not cutting off for you guys like it's cutting off for me. I hope not. Okay, our note. The dos auxiliary can be used, and the omida conjugate auxiliary can also be used, just like in present tense. So remember how it was, you can say home base, home bay dos. This is the dos auxiliary, where we just add dos. And home B ways, where now homida takes a neutral form and we conjugate the omida to the correct tense or to the correct person, dois. And all those are the same thing. Home base, home bay dos, and home bay dois. You can do the same thing in past two. So down here, we have home bayunks. That's the basic past two. We have the dos form where you just have to do, you have to change the dos into the past. Home bay dolunks. And then last but not least, we have the omida form. We change the omida instead. Home bay doenunks. Home bay doenunks. However, for stative verbs, they will almost always, and I put almost always in case there's a time when it doesn't happen, but generally it's always use the dos auxiliary in all past 2 through 5. So jabingalunks, that's just wrong. That's not correct. Jabingali dolunks, that's correct. Jabingali dolunks. Any questions on what I've said on this page before I move on?
I need to see the the omida worksheet again with conjugations.
Oh, yeah. And that's in the Google Drive as well. That'll be in the one in the folder that's called, I think, Let's and Omida. I think it's the one where you can find that one. But yes, that's gonna be the omida conjugations. The reason we start with that is because they're gonna sneak their way into everywhere. So if you don't remember your omida conjugations, I'll probably practice those because they're sneaky and they're gonna be everywhere. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our chart. That'll make life a little easier. Okay. So first person singular, I or me. And I have our little thing of like when we did, because right in English, it just says I did. It doesn't show when. So I put the little marker for yesterday and a few years ago. So I did. We have our first marker plus our past 2, unk. So a unk. A unk. Now, I mean, that looks weird to English eyes, but it's not hard to say, which is why it doesn't actually change anything. Versus like, before ogle, right? That changed. An I and a V isn't hard to say to each other. Aya, so aunk. So this becomes hombayunks. Hombayunks. For second person singular, we have you. You did. You did that yesterday or a few years ago. So you'll notice something. It skunk. It skunk. It junk. And it junk. What happened? If there's an E, a short E, before unk, that E gets deleted. Right? Because usually this would be itski plus unk. But that last E gets eliminated. It's gunk. It's gunk. It junk. So that last E, if it's not long, it gets eliminated. Right? So you have to remember that. So it's not itchy gunk. It's skunk. And that's important because we're going to learn that ich gunk means something else. So ich gunk. Skunks. You ate yesterday. Skunks. Maybe there was a cookie everybody wanted to eat and you're looking really forward to eating it. And you're like, well, where'd it go? And it's like, you ate it yesterday. Skunks. Third person singular. He, she, or it did something, right? Right? Because we add this usually in present tense. We add E in the parentheses. Why? Because this E is a placeholder. But if we are dropping, like in this case, right, we're dropping short E's, we don't need that placeholder, so it's just unk. Humbugs. Humbugs. First person plural, we. So we did something. E-unk and E-unk. That E stayed, right? That's because that's the long E, not the short E. That long E shows we did something. So it's extremely important. And so it stays. You can put E-unk or E-unk. They're pronounced the same. It's just whether or not the Y helps you. It's because if you go in your mouth real quick, right? And you say E and then next to each other. Yeah. You naturally kind of make a yeah, like a Y. But you don't have to write it because your mouth naturally does it. So you can choose either way to write it, with the Y or without the Y. So homebeyunks. 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 Second person plural, aka y'all. So y'all did something yesterday. Skunk and skunk. Once again, that E is a short E. It gets eliminated. So skunk. Skunk. So y'all ate yesterday. Homebot skunks. Homebot skunks. And last but not least on this, we have they, third person plural. They ate. We have agunk. Once again, with our asterisk, right? Because it depends on if that verb has a separate form. So agunk. Agunk. Hombagunks. Right? Usually this would be agi, but that E isn't a long E, right? If it's a long E, I'll show it, right? So this is the E, it drops. When you add the unk, agunk. Agunk. Okay, so before I get any questions, let's do this row together. We're gonna do each one twice. So ready? I say, you say, I ate. Homebeyunks.
Homebeyonks.
Nice. Homebeyunks.
Homebeyonks.
Nice. You ate. Hombitskiyunks.
Mvskoke.
Nice. Sorry, I actually ended up saying something else. Hombitskunks.
Mvskoke.
Nice. And then one more time. Hombitskunks.
Mvskoke.
Nice. He, she, or it ate. Hombunks.
Humbunks.
Hombunks.
Humbunks.
Nice. And make sure you really do show that nasal, because otherwise it sounds like hombucks, right? And that would mean something else. That means y'all eat, right? Okay, now we're on this one, the we ate. So we ate hombeyunks.
Humbeyonks.
Hombeyunks.
Humbeyonks.
Nice. Y'all ate hombot skunks.
Humbeyonks.
Hombot skunks.
Humbeyonks.
Nice. And last but not least, they ate hombagunks.
Humbugons.
Hombagunks.
Humbugons.
Nice. Nice. Any questions on any of this before I click next? Okay. Okay, stative verbs in past two. So remember, stative verbs, if we look, nothing changes except the fact that we add this in the end, past two marker and omida, which is dounks. So that means that before a consonant or a short E, it's still ja. Before an O, it's still udge. Before a V, it's still udja. Before an A or an E, it's still a jaw. Still gonna follow the same rules, right? And if remember this row And this row are gonna be the first rows you wanna learn, because those are gonna be the most common for states for adjectives and states that you might be in. Those are gonna be the most common ones. Right? So an example of this one would be, I'm gonna do it in white so you can see it. Illinois is an example, starts with a short E. And then Ahojki is another one. Those are gonna be the common ones. O and V are not gonna be as common. So I would focus on these two ones first. So ja, G, nothing. Bu, G, nothing. A ja, EG, nothing. Ibu, EG, nothing. And then remember that any of the ones with the asterisk, because there's multiple and you don't change the verb, you have to change the verb to that up, right? So basically the only major difference between the past two and present tense for this guy is just the fact that instead of ending in like an S or a dos, jafit no gis or jafit no gidos, it's doanks. That's really the only difference. Right? So let's say each one of these. Let's do each one of these twice. First one. So I say, you say, I was sad. Jafit no gidoanks.
Say it again.
Jafit no gidoanks. Nice. You were sad. Jifit no gidoanks. Nice. He, she, it was sad. Fiknoki doanks. Nice. We were sad. Ufiknoki doanks. Nice. Y'all were sad. Jifiknokagi doanks. Nice. We're gonna do that one more time because we have to remember that. Jifiknokagi doanks. Nice. Yes, and it might be easier to kind of look at it in pieces. So we have. Yeah, I'm gonna do it the other way. So we underline way. G, feet, nope, ga, gi, doanks. There we go. Okay, let's do the next one then. They were sad. So I'll do the pieces so that way you have it ready. There we go. And it was feet no gagi doanks. Nice. Feet no gagi. Feet no gagi doanks. Yeah. It's hard for me to say them slow sometimes. I'm a fast speaker in English, which doesn't help. And then my tones get weird when I say it slow because it's hard to say a tone slow. So if I said them fast, it would be Jifik no gidoanks. Jifik no gidoanks. Fik no gidoanks. Ufik no gidoanks. Jifik no gidoanks. And fik no gidoanks. And it's good to hear that just so that you know kind of what the tone is, where the bounces are. Nice. Any questions on this chart before I move on? Okay, so let's try to practice this. I highly recommend go to the Google Drive, pull up your chart, your list, and let's do this. Okay, so she listened. So first we need our verb for to listen. What's to listen? Starts with M.
Mabages.
Yes, mabuhejid. Okay, so past two. What's the first thing we do?
Drop the
Drop our ida. We're always gonna drop that ida. Mabuhej. What do we add next?
Person marker.
Person marker. What's the person marker for she? It's none. None. Right, it's the placeholder E, so none. So then we kind of wait, we're like, okay, let's see what the tense is. Well, it's past tense, right? Past two. What's the past two marker? There we go. And then what we add at the end to make it a statement,
Yes.
yes, mabuhay junks. Mabuhay junks, she listened. Mabuhay junks. Let's do this guy right here. They slept 3+, right? Because to sleep is one of the verbs that matters, how many. So anybody remember what the verb to sleep for 3 or more people is?
No jejida.
Heck yes. No jejida. No jejida. Okay, so first thing we do, we
Drop that.
yeah, there we go. Drop it in no jage. Okay, so no jage. In that case, what do we add next?
Person marker.
First marker. In this case, it's
Agam.
og. Nice, it'd be og. E, right? And then we add, like you said, unk, which means that E is gonna go away. We add our unk. So ogunk. Nice. Okay, and then we end it with that. Yes. No J dogunks. No J dogunks.
JJ Gunks.
Or J dogunks. You drank coffee yesterday. What's the first word in that sentence?
Coffee.
No. One more word. Yesterday. Now.
Baksangi.
Yes, exactly. The reason is because time words, like yesterday, tend to want to go near the front of a Mvskoke sentence. So nice. Baksangi. That's the word for yesterday. Baksangi. Okay, now we have the word for coffee, which is what?
Coffee. Coffee.
Coffee. Coffee. And then to drink is what?
Skidda.
Iskida. We do what?
Up the edda.
Upper edas, we have our isk. You. How do we do past to you?
Edska.
Nice. It's gunk. And like you just said out loud, you add that S. So it becomes baksangi. Coffee is skunks. Baksangi.
Mahaya
Yes.
apohka ojes.
Uh-huh.
No J jagungs. I had heard that sometimes, and I don't know from experience, that when you have a plural form of a verb, the uk as a plural marker is redundant. So
Yes,
it
right.
would be sufficient just to say no J junks.
Yes,
That's kind
why I had
of
this- Thank you. That's
a
why I
special
had,
rule, but
that is why I had this in here, was to talk about that and I forgot. I was just like, yeah, you guys are on a roll. No, you're right. So like Randy was saying, because no Jaja already means 3+, we don't need to show the ok. We just use no Jaja to do it. So it becomes no J junks. No J junks. You are correct. Thank you. No J junks. Okay, let's do we were scared. Now we're doing a stative verb. So we need first the word to be scared. What's the word to be scared? Starts with a P.
Bengali there.
Nice. Bingali. Bingali. So what's the next thing that we do? Add our patient marker to the front. What's the patient marker for we when it's in front of a P? You're probably gonna have to get your thing out to figure that out.
Popengali.
Oh, nice. Oh, bingali. Now we need to make it past tense. What do we do to add to make it past tense?
And the
Not unks. We add.
Eonks.
We use
Eonks.
dolunks.
Dolunks.
Yeah, we use the whole word dolunks.
Yeah.
Ubingali dolunks. Ubingali dolunks. I ran last week. So we know it's one person and they ran last week. What goes first?
Last week.
Last week, right? Because it's a time phrase. So I say it on the front of our thing every day. Tajak Ungi. Ungi. You can also say Tajak Ungi. I've heard people say that. Tajak Ungi is specifically like 1 week ago, last week. Tajak Ungi. So last week, and now we need the word ran. What word is to run?
Mikida.
Yeah, nice. So we drop our era We have lick. Lick. And then it's I. What do we add for I past tense?
A,
I am.
Aeon.
Yeah.
Aeon. You were right. You just said it with a question mark on the end. Aeon. And then we add our S. Nice. Jacques Humyangi Lickayaks. Jacques Humyangi Lickayaks. I ran last week. We walked.
Some of you on here that
We walked. Two people. To walk has multiple forms, right? So which one is to walk for two people?
Good.
Anybody remember? Starts with Y.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say Yagobita, but I don't think that's right, is it?
Yagubita is one. I'll give you a hint. All that piece is the same. Yagub. It becomes Yagub. Pogida.
Ogida.
Yagub Pogida.
Ogida.
Yagub Pogida. Nice. So we drop our Eda. We have Yagub Pog. Yagub Pog. Now we need the we in past two. Which one is we in past two?
Young.
Yunk. Nice. And I'm gonna do it with the Y. And then we add our S.
Yeah.
Yagub Pog Yunks. Yagub Pog Yunks. The two of us, we walk. Yagub Pog Yunks. Nice. She
There
was
should
happy.
probably also be a Y in Litkeyungs. Just in spelling.
We don't,
No?
I don't know anybody that does. I honestly though, if somebody wrote it that way, I'd be able to read it. So I wouldn't fight you on it, but I don't know anybody that does write it with the Y.
Oh, okay. Maybe you're right.
Okay, so she was happy. So another stative. We need happy. What's the word for happy?
Husky.
Afajki. Such a good word. Afajki. We have to add the front. Is there anything that we add on the front when we say she was? No, right? If you look at your chart, it says none. We add nothing to the front. So what do we add to show it was past two on the end? Dolunks. Dolunks. Afajki dolunks. She was happy. Afajki dolunks. You were mad. What's the word to be mad? What was that one?
Iliski.
Ooh,
Yabakida.
Jabaki. Iliski,
Jabaki.
we're like.
Yeah.
Mad because you didn't get your way. You're pouty, that kind of feeling. Versus to be mad, like as a pure emotion,
Jabaki.
would be Jabaki. Oh, let me put it a little lower. Jabaki. Okay. You. What we add to the front for you?
G.
Nice. G. Jabaki. And then what do we add for past two? First stative.
Dolungs.
Nice. I was like, it's right there. Dolunks. Jijabaki dolunks. You were mad. It's like, why didn't I call him yesterday? Because you were mad. Jijabaki dolunks. They danced Saturday. What's the first word in that sentence?
Saturday.
Saturday. Nice. It's a time word, right? What's the word for Saturday?
Tajakjuzi.
Nice. Tajakjuzi. You put a little thing there, depends on how you spell it. Teach their own. Tajakjuzi. Okay. Now we need to dance. Dance is what?
Oh, bunny duck.
Nice. Oh, bunny duck. Just put it over there. I'm gonna put it over here without the ida. Oh, bun. Okay. Now we need they in past two. What is they in past two when there's not a special verb?
Ox.
Agungs. Nice. We have our S. Agungs. Obanagungs. 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 They dance Saturday. Tajakruzi Obanagungs. Nice. Now let's get the pretty typed font here so we can read it nice and easy. Okay. See, I put it right. I did it right here. I just got too invested. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do each one twice. I'm gonna say it and then you say it. So starting here, she listened. Bobble hay junks.
Marble hay jokes.
Nice. They slept, 3 of them. No J junks.
No J jumps.
No jelly jokes.
Nice. You drank coffee yesterday. Baksangi, coffee, biscuit skunks.
Sungi.
Oxongi, coffee, biscuit skunks.
Nice, nice. You guys did good. Okay. We were scared. Upingali dowunks.
Bingley dowunks.
Nice. I ran last week to Jock Hungy Ungy Leaks.
Hungy, licky,
Nice. Leaks. We walked. Yagab Hogi Unks. Nice. She was happy. Afajki dowunks.
Husky dowunks.
Nice. You were mad. Jijabaki dowunks.
Jijabaki dowunks.
They danced Saturday to Jaktruzi Obanagunks. Or Obana, yeah. Obanagunks. To Jaktruzi Obanagunks.
Obana young.
Nice. Any questions on any of these before I go over to the next group of practice questions? Now let's do the switcheroo. We take the Mvskoke and make it English. Okay, so this first one, Baksangi, Ruby, no slave jokes. So let's start with the first word. Baksangi means what?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Ruby is a name. I just need to think of a name. I spelled that so messy. No slave junks. Okay, or no slave junks. What's no slave jada?
Cook.
Nice to cook. And then unks. Which past is like which form of past two is that?
Recent was yesterday.
Nice. It's the he, she, or it form, right? So, and that's because Ruby's the one that did it. So Ruby cooked yesterday. Ruby cooked yesterday. Okay, let's do this one. Hodozagi dowunks. Hodozagi dowunks. Hodorzi. Hodozagi. Hodorzi. What is Hodorzi? Means tired, right? Specifically tired as in like you did stuff, now you're tired, right? Versus sleepy is a different word, right? So tired. We have the ugh in here. So what does that mean?
We or a day,
It means multiple.
day,
So we're still on the word tired. It just means 2 or more. We know it's more than one person is tired. Dowunks is our past 2. So in this case, since we don't know who, there's no thing in the front, we don't know who, it's they were tired, because we know it's multiple. They were tired. This one, in Hadijiska, Ijiliski dowunks. In Hadijiska. So what's in Hadijiska? Anybody know?
playing, right?
I'll give you a hint. It's a time word. It's a time word.
Hmm.
Another hint. It's a day of the week.
Monday.
Monday. Monday. And that's because the word in Hadijiska means the beginning. It's the beginning of the week, the work week, right? Monday. Monday. Nice. Ijiliski. So it's iliski is our word, which means what? Somebody said it earlier.
Howdy.
Oh,
Yeah, that pouty kind of mad. I'm gonna write pouty. That pouty kind of mad. Looking at the front, it's Ij. Right? Ij, which means who?
you,
You.
you,
You. And then doonks is our past two. So you were pouty Monday. You were pouty Monday. So maybe somebody, they were in a bad mood and you're like asking them like, oh, like, are you okay? And they're like, oh, what? Oh, you were pouty Monday, right? Inhale Jessica. E.g. risky dogs. Are you okay? Teacher needy. Are you okay? This one, ma hunna hayangs. Ma hunna hayangs. What's ma?
That.
That. That. Hunna. What's hunna?
Dress.
Dress.
Nice dress. Okay, hayangs. Hayangs. So we see that's our split. We have our high and our amps. So haida means
I
Make.
made,
make.
I made,
Ayangs is what?
I.
I test. Nice. So I made that dress. Maybe you're showing it off, you know, you just got back from a workshop where you learned how to make your own ribbon dress. And you're just like, Mahona Hayaks, I made that dress. Nice. Adokashkunks. Adokashkunks. Oh, dang it. I forgot my other T there. It's adokashkunks. Okay. So adok is what verb? Adokida.
Work.
work,
Work. Otskunk. Otskunk. Which one is that one?
you,
Y'all.
Y'all.
oh, y'all,
Y'all. Past two. So y'all worked. Y'all worked. Abogiunks. Abogiunks. Okay, so we have abog, and then here's our split. Abogida. Anybody remember what abogida was? Abogida is the 3 or more version of to sit. Sit, 3 or more. Right? You have legida, which is the one most people notice. Legida is one person. 2 people is gogida. 3 or more people, abogida. Abogida. Eox. Which form of past 2 is that one?
We.
We. I'm gonna put past 2. I'm sick of written past 2, so P2 is past 2. We sat. We sat. Maybe you went to Stomp and they're like, oh, did you dance? No, we sat. Abogiyunks. We just watched. We sat and watched. This one. Duck Lake Sokmorski, home beat junks. Duck Lake Sokmorski, home beat junks. So first word, we have Duck Lake Sokmorski. What's that word mean?
Fry bread.
Fry bread. Nice. Literally bread fried. So fried bread. Next, we have hombit junks. What's hombida?
eat,
Eat. It junks. Which one is it junks?
you,
You.
You. You and the past 2. So you ate fried bread. Wait, fried bread. Okay, only 2 more. Jitton kijiyunks. Jitton kijiyunks. What's jitto?
Snake.
Snake.
Chito,
Jitto. Okay, kijiyunks. Hijida. What is hijida?
say,
To see.
you,
To see. And then iyunk. Which form is iyunk?
We.
We passed 2. So we saw a snake. We saw a snake. Don't eat junks. We saw a snake. And the last one. Jijabakhogi dounks. Jijabakhogi dounks. So we have jabakhogi. Jabakhogi. What does that word mean?
Mad two or more.
Nice, mad. For 2 or more. In front, we have G. So who is it?
You.
You. And then no wonks is our
Past.
past two. Our past two form of omida. Yeah, of dos. So you, mad two. Y'all, right? Because if it's you, but it's multiple,
Mhm.
so y'all were mad. Y'all were mad. Nice. Okay, so let's get the pretty text writing up instead of my handwriting. Nice. Okay. So let's do I say, you say. We'll do each one of these twice because these are a little bit longer. So Ruby cooked yesterday. So first run through. Baksangi, Ruby, no sleigh junks.
Baksangi.
Sungi, Ruby,
Jumps.
no play jokes.
Nice. Baksangi, Ruby, no sleigh junks.
Baksangi.
Sungi, Ruby, no play jokes.
Yes. Okay. They were tired. Hodorsangi, no wonks.
Sogi, no wonks.
Nice. Remember, there's not an L, so don't make sure you don't say Ulgi. It's Uggy. Hodozagi, no wonks.
Udozagi. No don'ts.
Nice. This guy. You were pouty Monday. In Harijiska, Ijiliski, no wonks.
In Herijitska.
Harajitska,
Ijileski.
no wonks.
Don'ts.
Yes. Nice. One more time. In Harijiska, Ijiliski, no wonks.
In Herijitska.
Harajitska,
Ijiliski.
no wonks.
Don'ts.
Nice. I made that dress. Ma hunna hayanks.
Mahona. Hyans.
Mahoya, ayo.
Ma hunna hayanks.
Mahona.
Mahona,
Hyans.
ayo.
Nice. Y'all worked. I don't got skunks.
I don't got skunks.
Nice. I don't got skunks.
Don't got skunks.
We sat. A bogey yunks.
Abogians.
Bogians.
A bogey yunks.
Abogians.
Nice. You ate fry bread. Now, if you've never said fry before, this is kind of a mouthful. Daklek sakmovski. Daklek sak. Here, let's do that one first. Let's do fry bread first and then. So, fry bread. Daklek
Leg. Sakmovki.
sakmovski.
Sakmotki.
Nice. Okay, one more time all together. Daklek sakmovski.
Leg.
Sakmotki.
Nice. Okay. So, all the full sentence. Daklek sakmovki. Home bit junks.
Leg.
Sakmotki.
Home bit girl.
Home bit junks.
Home bit junk.
Nice. This guy. We saw a snake. Jitong hiji yunks.
Hiji
Jitong hiji yunks.
Hiji.
Nice. And last but not least, y'all were mad. Jijabak hogi doangs.
Chijibak.
Hogi doangs.
Nice. Jijabak hogi doangs.
Hogi doangs.
Perfect. Any questions on this page before I move on? We're about done. So, any questions? Okay, yes. So the big thing I want you to try to practice now, if we had time, we don't have time now. We gotta go. But if we had time, I want you to practice talking about something that you did yesterday. I gave you guys some new words down here to kind of try to practice doing that. I try to think of words of like maybe things that you might do every day or chores, stuff like that. I feel like maybe were pretty helpful. So I'll read through the words real quick. So first we have food. Hombida. To buy. Misida. To brush your teeth. Nuri okosida. Nuri is your teeth. Nuri okosida. To wash clothes. Akjagi okosida. Akjagi is clothes. Akjagi okosida. To brush or comb something. Gasida. Gasida. My hair. Specifically, my hair is jagazi. And I did that because we haven't gone into your hair, my hair, her hair yet. So I just gave you specifically my hair. That way you say I brushed my hair. So Jagazy is my hair. To clean is Hazadijida. Hazadijida. To mop, Dakbida. Dakbida. And then very similar hand motion. To sweep, Basida. Basida. To drive a car, Adami Sadohkida. Adami is the word for car. I was taught that it does not make sense if you don't say the word car with, like, even if you just say the verb, it just doesn't make sense apparently. So I always say, so Adami Sadohkida, to drive a car. To watch TV, not Hichkuji, Hijida. TV is not Hichkuji, and the verb to watch, Hijida. To play is Akkobanida. Akkobanida. To rest is Figabida. Figabida. And then a good word, if we're talking about yesterday, is the word yesterday. Baksangi. Baksangi. So what I would like, it'd be kind of cool if we could maybe, and you might have to run me, but if we could maybe start class tomorrow with some people sharing what they wrote, maybe like say at least try to write one sentence of what you did yesterday, and we'll try to share them tomorrow. To see if you guys, kind of got your past two down. So you guys will have access to this, and otherwise, I think, yes, the Spiegelmungen, which literally means before we finish, do you have any questions? And so while I wait for anybody to possibly have questions, I just wanted to show you the Google Drive. So one more time, just in case for anybody who joined a little late or missed it, here is the link for the drive. This one is going to be inside the folder called past tense and forming negatives. I'm pretty sure the link I give you goes straight to that specific folder. In here we have, I'm just going to go ahead and draw. We have, this is the negatives worksheet. So it shows the steps on how you do the negatives. And then it's the past two grammar worksheet for specifically how to do the past two grammar. And this is the PowerPoint for today. That'll have the words that I talked about just now on your daily stuff to do that, or if you ever need to go back and check something. Especially because on both of these guys, I think I focus mostly on showing you how to do the action verb conjugation changes, because stative verbs don't really change that much. You just add a word on the end. So because they don't really change, I don't think on at least past two, I don't think I put their forms on the past two grammar worksheet. So if you want to review it, I go to this instead, where that has that chart again with the dolunks. Jobingly dolunks, jubingly dolunks, and all that stuff. Okay, in that case, I'm going to stop recording.